Here are a few adjustments and upgrades for the Wallke Ultra series and other bikes as well. We'll be adjusting brake levers, adding a suspension seat post, looking at lighter spring options for the rear shocks, and some more notes on solar charging that are important. The brake levers are adjustable, and mine came set too far out for me, so I moved them closer but left a reasonable gap for brake wear and stopping power. My H7 Ultra came with a nice set of hex wrenches and the 2mm wrenches used on the brake levers. There's a tiny hex screw in here. When it's first adjusted, it might be loose enough to use the wrench the long way, but if it's tight like it is now, it can be used the other way for more leverage. Be sure to leave enough gap that you don't inhibit your braking power and don't pinch your fingers. If you want a little more comfortable ride, a good suspension seat post might be a good option. I already had the seat fairly low, so I was concerned that a suspension seat post would make it too high. But after some measuring and a lot of product research, I decided the shortest post would probably work okay. I like the seat high enough for efficient pedaling, but I want to reach the ground while on the seat. And this frame is fairly high because of the battery, which left me about 4 inches to work with from the clamp to the pivot bolt on the seat post. Most suspension seat posts take about 5 inches of extra room, so they were too long for me. If you have that much space available, you have a lot of choices. But 4 inches didn't leave a lot of options, but the Safort SB08 takes up 4 inches and is a good post with a compact design. One small drawback is the largest size is 31.6 millimeters, which means we need a shim from 31.6 to 33.9 to fit the seat post. Links to these are in the description. It also has slightly less travel with 40 millimeters, as opposed to 50 millimeters for the higher versions. It arrived set fairly soft, sagging just from sitting on it, but it is adjustable with the hex screw in the bottom, and I set it so it didn't sag much just from sitting on it. I may readjust it as I use it more. Safort seemed concerned about keeping this mechanism clean according to the manual, and they provided a cover on this seat post. I was concerned I would miss the flip-up seat for battery access, but I can see around it, or unclamp the seat and rotate it for a better view, and just remove the seat if I want to take the battery out, so I'm not missing that feature. There's one other suspension option for a softer ride, that is changing the springs on the rear shocks. The shocks can't be changed to aftermarket shocks because the mounting system is incompatible with other shocks of this size. Wallke used an eye on top and a clevis on the bottom, and only much longer motorcycle shocks use this system. Other bike shocks of this size use an eye on both ends. I was not able to find another shock with an eye and a clevis of this size. But there are replacement springs for shocks whose springs can be removed, like the supposedly adjustable shocks on some Wallke models. If the top mounting bolt is removed, the adjusting nut could be slid off the shock, allowing the spring to be removed and replaced with one that is lighter. And there happens to be an exact size spring with thinner wire size that is rated at 350 pounds, while the wire size of the original shock should mean it is 450 pounds. I haven't tried this yet because my adjustable shocks won't adjust. For some reason, the threads are so seized the adjusting nut won't turn. Important note, my shocks have a tiny Allen screw in the adjusting nut, locking it in place. Yours may also, but it might be hiding on the back side of the shock like mine was. It must be removed before the adjusting nut is turned. It could be the installation of this screw that caused the threads on my shock to seize, but I don't know if all shocks have them. Fortunately, Wallke is sending me new ones, but I don't have them yet, so I can't try this idea. Let us know if you try it and what you think about it in the comments. Links for the springs are in the description. Here's a follow-up on solar charging. I have a converter from my Anderson plug to an XT60 required by the battery, and an amp hour meter to count how many amp hours are being charged into the battery to check the accuracy of the battery bars on the display and the percentage on the battery. The key needs to be on for the solar controller to work. I can unclamp the seat to turn it for a better view. This is already charged to 100%. Just for interest, after the solar charger finished to 100%, I plugged in the AC cord, and the battery continued to charge a considerable amount, but I didn't measure how much. So the solar controller is charging to different specs than the AC charger. And now when solar charging is finished, I top it off with the AC cord. And that's all I've got.